from, I don't know, at least for me, it could be quite hard to relate to his emotions. It's a very, very. So, what I want to do, I know stories we always hear, and I think we all know the Dhruva story like inside out, because we've all been hearing our Gurudevs or other teachers, Diksha, Siksha, all divisions that we have anyway. Diksha Gurus and Siksha Gurus or senior Vaishnavas or students or whatever it is. We've heard the story so much, but I want to just take you through the emotions of this story. Yeah? Women like emotions. Actually, men like emotions too, they just don't like to admit it. Men are very emotional. They just put the tough face, like they just. But actually, they are as emotional as women, if it maybe more. Yeah. We just don't like to put it out there. So, okay, did I do Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? So we'll just read the. I like to do the translation first, if you don't mind, just in this case, so that we know when we're doing Sanskrit, we know what it's going on about. Is it okay? Just a little different today, just to see the emotions of Dhruva Maharaj. Okay, call and response. Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination, am I doing the right words? Okay. Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination, call and response. By worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination, by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaja was not at all very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. He, sorry, I'm doing a little backwards because I just want to see if you can get the emotion of it. He, Dhruva Maharaj, api, although, sankalpajam, desired results. Jam comes into English. Jam is birth. So, any words relating to gerontology, Gentiles, gens, all these jan, the words that you see in English, they're coming from the word Janma. Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu. There's actually, I can actually prove how Lord Vishnu is not just an Indian god by the linguistics. He's actually a universally encompassing god by the etymology of it, but I don't want to bore you with my linguistics today. I'll spare you some headache. Padaseva. Padaseva is definitely in English. Pada is a straight path. Patha in Sanskrit comes from pada. So the path, this path, are you going to take this path or this path? The ta and da are interchangeable. So pada. And seva in English as serve. Would you like to serve in heaven or reign in hell? The Bible. No, service, So, reign in hell. Better reign in hell than serve in heaven. It's a joke from a satanic language. So the serve word comes from seva. Very clear. Seva. So pada seva English. By serving the lotus feet, upasaditam, obtained. Well, even that's in English, but I'll spare you with the headache. Prapya, having achieved. Sankalpa, of his determination. Nirvanam, the satisfaction. Not. Atiprita, very much pleased. Abhyagad, he returned. Puram, to his home. Sopi sankalpajam Vishnu. पादसेवोपसादितं प्राप्य संकल्पनिर्वाणम् नाति प्रीतोऽभ्यगात् परम् सोऽपि संकल्पजं विष्णो पादसेवोपसादितं प्राप्य संकल्पनिर्वाणम् नाति प्रीतोऽभ्यगात् परम् पुरम सोऽपि संकल्पजं विष्णु पादसेवोपसादितं प्राप्य संकल्पनिर्वाणम् नाति प्रीतोऽभ्यगात् पुरम्. Anybody wants to give it a shot? Sopi sankalpajam Vishnu sevopasaditam prapya sankalpa nirvanam nati prito bhayat puram. Sopi sankalpajam Vishnu पादसेवोपसादितं प्राप्य संकल्प निर्वाणम् नाति प्रीतोऽभ्यगात् पुरम्. Ladies, Vaishnavis. सोऽपि संकल्पजं विष्णु पादसेवोपसादितं प्राप्य संकल्प निर्वाणम् नाति प्रीतोऽभ्यगात् पुरम्. सोऽपि संकल्पजं विष्णु पादसेवोपसादितं प्राप्य संकल्प निर्वाणम् Nati prito bhyagat puram. Very nice. So, did anybody want it? Or it's okay? You want to give it a shot? Okay. Okay. So, just anybody who's just joined online, we've already gone through the word to word and the translation, but I'll just read the translation again. Despite having achieved the desired results of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaja was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vande Nandavrajastrinam Padrenum Abhikshnashaya Sam Harikatodgitam Punati Bhunatrayam. So we finished the kind of major big episode of Dhruva Maharaja's pastimes. So let's go just recap the emotions between this story. The emotional part of the story was Dhruva Maharaj was characteristical Kshatriya. Last night Kirtan has kind of did my voice. It just kept going on. I was just so ecstatic. Just amazing, just so ecstatic. Balram Jayanti is very, very, obviously any Jayantis are very fortunate. Balram Jayanti is particularly auspicious and fortunate. The thing is, first, we are very fortunate that God actually decides to come and visit us. You know, it's like, I know none of you has been in a prison, but imagine if someone of your friends or relatives or brothers are in a prison, right? And they've been sentenced for a long time. Now we're not talking about, small little car theft. We're talking about a proper, attempted something criminal. And say he or she is in a jail or a prison for some time, and you get a visitor. You were not expecting a visitor. You didn't expect a visitor. You're just going about your Sunday, Saturday routine, and all of a sudden the guard comes on your prison cell and goes, "Oh, Mr. Das, you got a visitor out there." It's very delightful, isn't it? And you open the door, and it's your brother, it's your sister, it's your mother, it's your father. It's like, I thought you hated me. I thought you hated me for what I've done. I thought you wouldn't want to see my face. But you're here. Just to thanks for being here. So when God comes and knocks our prison doors here, like Balramji, like Krishna, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Nitai, Ram Bhagwan, Narsimha Bhagwan. So it's like a parent coming and knocking on our prison door, saying, "Hello kid, it's all right, whatever you've done, it's all past. We're looking at the future. Anyway, I brought your favorite lunch." Oh. Can you imagine? And they get this lunch out that was your favorite. They know, mother and my father, they know your favorite. My mother, I've departed from India for 25, 26 years now. Now I return, my mother, I just go home and the breakfast is my favorite. I've forgotten what my favorite is. She precisely remembers. Like what I liked on a Saturday, what I liked on a Sunday, what I liked on a Tuesday. And it's there. And I look at it and then I remember, oh, this is to be my favorite. And my mother is like, mm-mm. So God coming to the planet and not tapping on our prison doors, just so amazing. It's just such a beautiful, parental, loving, compassionate thing to do. And out of all, Balrama is much more auspicious, maybe even so more than Krishna in some sense. I might say, whoa, Radhika Prasad, what are you doing here? Because he actually sets the scene, and I'll explain to you why I say more than even Krishna. Say if you have troubles in your house with parents, usually, I'm sure it's all with your families, it's not so foreign. Usually the uncle is the one you'll immediately relate to, isn't it? Chitta Hari Prabhu. What happens is, say if we have a problem with dad and we had a little, tussle, and we give each other that silent treatment sometimes. That silent treatment, I didn't like what you said, and dad's going, I didn't like what you did, you idiot. And then there's this silence treatment. And what happens is the uncle comes to rescue. The uncle comes and goes, hey, and he goes to dad, hey, come on, what are you troubling the kid for? Come on, kid. Takes you out, does a little shopping and say, look, don't mind your dad. He's doing a lot of things. He's a little upset with what you did. Come on, you should mind your behavior. And then the uncle kind of sets things up. He brings you home and says, hey, come on, hug your dad. And dad hugs and says, okay, guys, clear. Balrama is like that uncle god. Balrama is like that uncle god. This even you will even see in movies like there is good cop and bad cop. The bad cop comes like heavy on you. You idiot, you damn fool. How could you do this? Come on, speak up or I'm going to trash your jaw. And the bad cop is playing like thumping on the door. And it's just, I'll show you how you will die every day in pain. And the good cop comes in the room and he says, hey, settle down. Then he goes, hey, relax, look, I'm on your side. If anything, I want to reduce your sentence. I want to fix things for you. All you need to do is just give us some names. My lips are sealed. It's in the room, it won't go anywhere. We'll set things up. I'll get you out from here quicker. How about this? The good cop is nice. All of a sudden, shake up. Even the deadliest criminal shakes up. just relaxes, and then he relates to the good cop. So God has to play, we are not polytheistics. I'll come back to the verse, don't panic. You're thinking, okay, Radhika Prasad, where are we going here? I'm still in that Balram Jayanti mood. I really love Balram Jayanti. So all of a sudden, even the deadliest criminal comes to his senses and he thinks, okay. And he starts communicating with the police. And he becomes maybe he becomes an agent. Maybe by good behavior he reduces his sentence. And then he eventually comes out, and usually you'll see, there's a movie called Felon. You'll see the good cop actually comes at the prison door and then shakes hand and says, thanks very much for behaving. See you later, and I hope you'll never have to see our faces again. So God is playing this good cop and bad cop. The Balrama plays that good cop. We get upset with Krishna. We get upset because he has to rectify us. He has to fix our psychologies. He has to fix our behaviors. And Balrama comes like that uncle in the house. Balram comes like that, the good cop. Not the bad, the good cop, bad cop. He plays that bad cop. And if you think Radhika Prasad is just in his own reverie all the time, God knows what he speaks about, I'll actually give you an example. You want me to give you an example to substantiate all things I've said? Yeah? Yeah, Chittahari Prabhu wants to. So, take who are the best guy on the Pandavas side. Like the sweetest, the gentlest, the heart of everybody. Who is that one guy? I thought you were going to say Arjuna. Because Krishna hundreds of times says to him throughout Maharaj that you are most dear to me. Yes, Yudhishthira is also dear, but if anything, many times Krishna says, Priyosime, 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 Priyosime. You are the dearest and pleasureful for me. So the best of all the Pandavas in the war, the side was Arjuna. For me, I just love Arjuna with my heart and soul. Not as a fanatic, I just love the way he questions. I just love the way he behaves throughout Mahabharata. Not just with Krishna, with Bhima, with Yudhishthira, with Draupadi, with Dhaumya. It's just an absolute archetype of gentlemen. Him and Uddhava. If there is a gentleman that you want to aspire, that's Arjuna. And no wonder the God of the gods loves him. Who's the bad guy on the other side? No, the Kaurava side, other side. No, Bhima is not bad guy, he's Arya. He's just a Bhikara. He's Bhikara. But I'm talking about like the mean bad guys on the other side. Thank you very much. Listen to this carefully. Arjuna gets Krishna, Duryodhana gets Balram. You ever thought about that? That's very, very interesting. So, Arjuna gets Krishna, but Duryodhana has not been completely deprived of God's association. Duryodhana gets Balram, associating in his company every day, seeking combat skill, teaching, training under him every day. And it is actually said, when the day comes when Bhima and Duryodhana had to actually fight, Krishna himself says that technically speaking, Duryodhana has much more technique than Bhima. Why? Because while Bhima was wandering around the forest after the burning of the Laksha Griha and after the gambling match, guess who was practicing every day? Duryodhana was getting to practice every day. But Bhima was not getting to practice. He was just surviving. He was just trying to survive. But Duryodhana was practicing systematically. So the odds, when the rugby state of origin, the rugby league, the odds are calculated. It's actually admitted the odds were in many sense on Duryodhana's side because he was technically sound. Bhima was powerful, but Duryodhana was technical. just because Krishna was in his side, and tactfully Balram had left. So Krishna played a little trick and said, you got to catch him off guard. So Bhima catches him off guard, gives him what we call below the belt. Keep the language sane. Gives him a below the belt blow, and then Duryodhana is gone. And Balram comes and he's just completely devastated. He says, I cannot believe you let this happen. He says that, I cannot believe you let this happen. How could you let that happen? I'm so upset with you. So upset, I'm going to walk out. And Krishna says, yeah, sure, okay. That's all right. That's fine. So this is the amazing contribution of Balram. I was traveling through the dhams recently, and I had by Vaishnava's mercy, and some guides that have previously guided me very well, I was able to go to some really very confidential places that I cherished in my heart. And while you are going, you meet all these devotees, groups, want to read with you, want to read some. Usually it's a very popular practice in New Zealand with all my God brothers. If they see you, they'll immediately catch you and say, can you read Bhagavatam for half an hour? It's just a very popular practice in New Zealand. So I was bumping into all these, my God brothers from New Zealand, and can we read? And but anyway, at one place I came to this group of devotees, not New Zealanders, but some other devotees who were also reading, and I was hearing, like, they were talking about how we are supposed to establish our rasa in the spiritual world, and we are supposed to meditate, and it's just too much gopiology for me, just bouncers for me. And I was just listening, and they asked me, what do you think about that? Well, look, I'm not much of a rasosologist, but the way I see it is, I go by, my favorite character is Balramji and Arjun, and I just go by their example. Balram doesn't care what his rasa is. He doesn't keep meditating, what is my rasa in the spiritual world. If Krishna needs a servant, he takes up his job as a servant, as Lakshmana, serves him in the forest. If Krishna needs a friend, he takes up the role of a friend and plays around him with the park, Sakhya-rasa. If Krishna needs a parental brother, he takes the form of a parental brother, Balram. If Krishna wants to, even Balram comes as a Madhurya Rasa, Ananga Manjari, is that right? Ananga, yes, Ananga Manjari. So if Krishna needs a Madhurya Rasa with a little left wing gopi, he comes as Ananga Manjari. If Krishna wants him to just stay peaceful and just, stay out of this war, just go on pilgrimage, right? Yeah, sure. So he just leaves the whole war and goes on a pilgrimage. He's not stuck with this rasa mentality. It's, I don't know, please don't get me wrong. I just get a little, yeah. So there was all these devotees sitting there and talking, all this, what my rasa will be in the spiritual world. And I said, I just go by Balram. Whatever is needed, I'll do. Krishna needs me to shut up and sit down, I'll follow the Shanta rasa. If Krishna says jump, I'll say I jump. If Krishna wants, whatever, it doesn't matter. Madhurya, Sakhya, Vatsalya. So I go by that, Balram. So the unique contribution is Balram is, one, he plays this good cop, bad cop role. Arjuna gets Krishna, Duryodhana gets Balram. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I'm equal to everybody. I don't even leave the demons out. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, he's taking care of all the right wing. You understand right wing? The right wing politics and the left wing politics. What is Nityananda doing? Left wing. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going after Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's going after Prakashananda Saraswati, he's going after Ramananda Rai, he's going, after the Diggajas of the times. Navadvip was the only place who could compete with Varanasi. So, when he was going with the giants of Varanasi, then guess what Nityananda was doing? Just jumping in the street, catching Jagai, Madai, downtrodden, wretched. It's like left field, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, can you please stop coming to Jagannath Puri, please? And then he shows up. What did I tell you? Where's my danda? I just broke it. What do you mean you broke it? I just broke it. You mean break it, like break it? Yeah, I broke it. So where is it? I threw it in the river. What do you mean you threw it in the river? What's going on here? He just completely comes left field. So he is finding that balance of this left wing and the right wings. He's finding this balance of time, place, circumstances. So Balram's contribution is Balram's blessings is enormously required in our spiritual progress. You cannot underestimate, you will never be able to over-exaggerate Balram's contribution in our lives. As we speak right now, he's holding this whole thing together. So, Balramji is, I'm just still in the Balramji mood, so I just had to say a few words. I hope I didn't bore you guys. Was that okay? Or did I completely bore you guys to death? Anything that felt like, Radhika Prasad, why do you have to always speak so deviantly? So, that's the Balram contribution. So it's so important to just lay yourself down in front of Balram. Just lay yourself down. He's the one who's fixing things. He's the one who will fix us up, plays that uncle role in our family, plays that good cop role, and then gets us out of the jail. And then at the gates he'll meet us and say, I hope you will never see you again in this material world. Just thanks very much. So that's Balramji. Anyway, I can go on and on and on. So I'll stop there. We better get back to the words. So I wanted to speak about the emotions of Dhruva Maharaja going through. Why was he displeased? See, Dhruva Maharaj is going through this moment. It's very hard for us to relate to Dhruva Maharaja's emotions at the moment. He's actually just witnessed God. God with a capital G. The God. In his 8 forms, Vishnu. So he's just witnessed that. It's very hard for us to understand what can happen to us in terms of cognizance, in terms of bliss, in terms of awareness. What can happen, how we would transform in the presence of God is a completely unspeakable, inconceivable imagination for us. It's over beyond our imaginations. It's just out of this world. So he was in presence of God and is returning and is feeling completely ashamed. So you might be thinking, why would he be ashamed? Why would he feeling ashamed when he's met God? There is actually an interesting, sorry I keep diverting, but it relates to the topic, so please don't mind. I'll come back to the words. I'll tidy this all up. There is actually a similar sentiment in the story of Moses. If anybody had convent education or studied in Christian schools, no? I didn't study in Christian school, but I just loved comparative religious studies, and I work in the group of ISKCON where where all the scholars come together and talk about all these comparative religious studies and science and religions and synthesis and all that. And there is this part in the Old Testament, where Moses was given with just enormous, unbearable, unthinkable task of bringing nearly 1,000,000 Jews, 6 lakhs of Jews. They say 6 lakhs, some say million. Let's just put the peg on 6 lakh. It looks like that's the most popular. So he's bringing them all onto a journey from this Egypt, crossing the Dead Sea and the splitting the Dead Sea and all that. And he's finally, the whole Exodus lasts 40 years. 40 years of wandering in the forest, in the deserts, with 6 lakh people over your shoulder, demanding 24/7. You can imagine. Now we can imagine what Prabhupada might have gone through for the 12 years with the world's burden on him, world Sankirtan burden on him. So 40 years in Exodus. So finally he comes to this mount. The promised land is just behind the mount. And they're at this mount. It's just practically a couple of hours. And again, all these followers are just really tormenting him. We need food. You promised food. You promised land. 40 years we are with 12 tribes. We've been following you like idiots. And they just tantrums at him. And Moses was given this scepter. You understand scepter? Scepter is the large kind of stick that the kings carry, or it's like even in Jagannath Rath Yatra, the king comes with that scepter. He puts that away and then he brooms. Even now, it's called a scepter. So Moses was given this scepter by which he could perform miracles. He hit the ground, he could perform miracles. So throughout the 40 years, when push comes to shove, when he really had to supply, he would hit that scepter and the miraculous foods will appear. Miraculous fountains would appear. So this finally, he's just like 2 hours, maybe just less than half a day's journey. And they're torment, where's water? Where's water? And he's saying, come on, can't you bear for a few hours? It's like Janmashtami, 6 o'clock you fasted. You only got 6 hours more for midnight. Just bear with me. Just bear with me, guys. It's like that. Let's do Bhagavatam. Why focus so much on the tummy? Please don't take it as if you have gas problems or gastritis, please don't take it as an offense or anything. I'm just saying, please, yeah. I'm just saying, like if you're healthy and if you can take it, that's what I mean. So, 6 hours, few hours away, water, food. So Moses takes this scepter and hits it on the ground. Every time the fountain would spring from the earth, but this time it doesn't. This time God doesn't allow the miracle. And he gets so frustrated, he hits the second time. Water, and hits the scepter second time. The water bounces. And everybody drinks water, they're all chilled. And then his main chief commander was Joshua, who was his nephew, the uncle. Moses was the uncle of Joshua. So he didn't have much connection with his actual father, Aaron. He had more connection with Moses, the uncle. And the water comes, and Joshua comes and says, hey uncle, we're just across the mountain. This is the climax of the Exodus. Moses is so ashamed that he demanded God for a miracle twice. He pushed God. He's so ashamed, he imposes what's called a self-imposed punishment. The promised land that he was taking him right from the time he met God on the bush to now, it's nearly 50 years. He's been going for this promised land with nearly 1 million people. He says, as a self-imposed punishment, I'm not going to enter this promised land. Why? Because I pushed God for material gains, for my own gain. 50 years. The land is right behind the mount. And he says, I pushed God for a material gain. This is my self-imposed punishment. I'm not going to go into that land anymore. I won't step into that land. And he just walks off into the ether. Disappears. So when a devotee transforms under Vishnu's presence, and he knows he came with the ambition, that aim he had come was material, a material planet. It's just disgusting. He's ashamed. He's like, what did I do? What was I thinking? It was just a brother trying to get onto my father's lap. That's all right. That's okay. What was the big deal? And my mother was so good. She didn't feel envious of her stepwife. Sorry, what do you call that? Co-wife. She didn't feel envious. She said, good son, good. Take this as an opportunity. Don't play the victim card. She didn't play the victim card herself. We just need one reason to play the victim card. Oh, they did this to me. Oh, that devotee said this to me. Oh, the leader this said to me. Oh, I want to do the garland. Oh, I wanted to sing the aarti. Oh, my project, they screwed up my project. We need just one. We're hunting for how to become victims, and then harbor it like in our hearts for like poison, and then jump. Finally, Facebook. Finally, just say bad things about the managements and the leaders and the ISKCON, and bring like the 50 years of histories and just make a whole dirt of that. But that's not what Dhruva Maharaj is doing. That's not what Suniti is doing. She's not playing the victim card. Son, take this as an opportunity. Guru tapasya. Yes. Tapo divyam putra gayana sattva. So Dhruva Maharaj is having this moment of puna puna charvita charananam. Puna puna charvita charananam. Chewing the chewed. I've asked the same thing that everyone asked. Matirna Krishne paratasvato va mitopi padyata grahavratanam. So, Adanta Gobirushata Tamishram. Anyway, Puna Punaha Charita Charananam. Chewing the chewed. I asked the same thing. God damn it. Can't believe it. So he's having this embarrassment, this deep shame. And another thing there's few things that Acharyas talk about. There's another thing he's astonished. One thing he's embarrassed. Another thing he's astonished. Because in his mind, this is like origin of the planets. Like this is like beginning of the yugas. So this is like better part of the Satya Yuga. So obviously it's the yoga, the meditation, the tapasya was the austerities. And people would go hundreds and thousands of years. And this young boy, some guru intervenes, and some guru with some musical instrument, like 3B Prabhu was playing. Finally he just took that like the veena or something in his hands. So he just takes the veena and then interjects and just forget about all this Satya Yuga politics, tapasya politics. I'll give you a mantra. So on one hand, Dhruva Maharaj is completely embarrassed. On the other hand, he's completely astonished. People take thousands of years to get an audience of Vishnu. Pantastu kota shata sambrama. Vayorathapi manaso munipungavana. Sopyasti yat prapadasim avichintya tattva govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Pantastu koti shata sambrama. Pantastu koti, light of the speed, light of the wind. Yogis can travel and all they can see is the silver line at the shade of your lotus feet. But I got an audience by chanting the name Harinam. By just chanting your name for 6 months, I got this audience. It's very, very, very hard for us to relate his astonishment. The age that he was living in, and he's seen this, Mantastu Koti Sarasa. He's seen this. Sampragamyam. Vayor athapi manaso munipungavanam. Like the wind, like the mind. He's seen all this. He knows all these things. But this Guru comes, give him Harinam, chant Hare Krishna. In that age was Bijakshara, for that age. Chant Hare Krishna, 6 months, boom. He's just astonished. He's embarrassed and he's astonished by the power of Narada Muni's mantra. We are astonished, aren't we? I've been chanting the first time came here. I don't know, don't worry about it. It's been quite some time, the first time I set foot in this temple, before the Olympics. So anyway, in the initial days, it was just a jolly thing for me. I just loved. There was Guru Shakti Das, the Vijay Goranga, and there was Mark. He was amazing feasts. My God. 4 o'clock, those days was 4 o'clock, bit early feast. And we'd wait for Bhagavad Gita class by Atmaram Prabhu, and the feast came out, and Mark, he was a stout built guy. God, he made a feast. But I just took it as a jolly thing. But the more you start knowing the mantra, enjoying the mantra is different from tasting and knowing the mantra. The Hare Hare comes more than Krishna and Rama name. You have to realize that. Why? Hare is the goddess, the divine goddess of Bhakti, Radharani. She's encompassing the gods along with the chanter. She's encompassing these both gods, engulfing them along with the chanter into that blissful spiritual world. Hare Krishna chanting is not just Krishna himself, it's the whole Krishna spiritual world itself. All his leelas in there. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi. Na bhavet grahyam indriya. With this body, it's out of this body's scope of perceiving it. He reveals. And he's astonished. So, but I was just at Karma Yoga level. I was just asking for boons. And the next thing he was astonished is, he was wondering how great this mantra is from Jnana Yoga. Because, see, I've involved myself in quite a bit of academics, theology and philosophies, comparative studies of religions. I can empirically prove consciousness is primary. I can empirically show you, demonstrate to you. Prove is maybe a little hyperbole, little too much to use, but maybe I can say I can demonstrate to you empirically, from the metaphysical point of view, from the quantum physics point of view, from the neurologistic point of view, quantum physics, from the multiverse point of view, from the inflation and the Big Bang point of view, from the biological paleontologist, the equilibrium point of view. Anyway, don't worry about all these words, I'm just mental. So, I can actually empirically demonstrate to you how consciousness is primary and how you are not this body. I can prove to you. Just give me 4 or 5 hours and a whiteboard. You'll think, wow. All the academics that are going in the world right now, I'm not saying it's for me, I'm just saying the academics that are going in the world now, systems biologies and all that, think, wow, you could never be, I'll establish you could never be your body even if you wanted. You are an Atma, separate, completely distinct, no mixture, no Cartesian dualism, nothing like that. Completely independent of your body. But, I cannot do this. I can never do this. With academics, nobody can ever do this. With jnana yoga, nobody can ever do this. What is that? Alola chandra kalasad vanamalya vamsi ratnangadam pranay keli kalavilas. Alola chandra kalasad vanamalya vamsi. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto govindam adi purusham tamam bhajam. These are two different verses. I'm just mixing them to give you the vision what I'm trying to say. Vedeshu durla, Vedeshu, whatever is to be known by academical and speculative and textural knowledge, you will never be able to receive that. You will never be able to receive the grace of Krishna. But how will you receive? Atma Bhakta. The Kaustuba gem that Krishna wears is said to be the sum total of all Atmas. And the Alolaka Chandra Kalasa, this moon-like jewel in his heart, that's supposed to be all the beauty, everything, any beauty that you can imagine. Gender beauties, opposite sex beauties, beautiful Miss Indias, Miss Worlds, Miss Universes, natural beauties, the Niagara Falls, or the sky. Any beautiful thing that you can think of is coming from that Chandra Kalasa, that ornamented moon-like ornament from Krishna's heart. I can't give you that. I can empirically, academically show you that, I may demonstrate to you that. But Atma Bhakti, getting the vision of Krishna with Atma Bhakti, Alola Chandra Kalasat, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochana, that academics cannot give you. That Jnana Bhakti cannot, Jnana Yoga cannot give you. So Karma Yoga couldn't give you. I showed you. The more you try to grab something, the more you're slipping. That's what happens. 99% of the time. But even say, if you happen to find something that you happen to hold on, you finally found that dream partner, like the one in your mind, just perfect partner. Guess what happens? They'll be cruelly taken away by the time. After they die, I've seen people 95, 98 years old, after living with their wives or husbands for 50, 60 years, all of a sudden they lose their dream girl, dream lady, and just dying to get hold of something, some hope to at least continue living. So either you never get what you were looking for, or even if you got, you have to cruelly depart from it. That's the nature of this Karma Yoga. And Jnana Yoga, you can analytically do everything. You can delete material body from Atma. You can depart. You can bifurcate. You can see Atma for as it is. But you can never get the Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Same with yoga. Thousands of yoga, thousands of years of yoga. He just established that in, 6 months. So he's going through all this turmoil. Dhruva Maharaj is going through all this turmoil. One is embarrassed. Remember what Prahlad Maharaj, when he sees Narsingadev, he prays? Rusty, Radhika Prasad. Yasmat priya priyoga viyoga samyoga janma shokagnina sakala yonishu dhayyamana dukkha aushadam tadapi dukkha matadhyanam brahman brahmami vadame tavadasya yogam. Beautiful words. He says, Yasmat priya priya viyoga samyoga janma. All I'm seeing, God, is people are living, either people are priya, either people are desiring and wanting, either people are accepting something that's desirable. All our lives, that's what we're doing. Either they are accepting something desirable or rejecting something unfavorable. That's what the life is all about. Yasmat priya priya viyoga samyoga janma. In this way, shokagnina sakala yonishu dhayyamana. Sakala Yonishu, all these people are burning Dhyamana, Shokagna, in lamentation, jubilation. Lamentation, jubilation. I got something favorable, I have to depart something from favorable. Dukkaushadam tadapi dukkhamata dhyana. The solutions that we are trying to make become worse than the problem it was meant to solve. Did I wake you up? The solutions that we are always coming up with, politically, economically, relationshiply, biologically, environmentally, the solutions that we are trying to make become worse than the problems we were trying to originally solve. Dukkaushadam tadapi dukkhamata dhyana. Then he says, Bhuman brahmami vadame tavadasya yogam. I am sick of this wandering. Brahmami, I've been wandering like this. Like a what do they call Bhava? The wanderers in the dervish. Dervish. So, dervishes. I feel like a dervish wandering through this karma yoga, jnana yoga, this treacherous world of pleasing and displeasing things. And now I'm embarrassed. I got you, but I didn't get you. I lost you. I got you, but I lost you. So he's completely devastated and he's astonished. This saint comes, usually he comes to meet my father. I don't belong to that category. For some reason he intercepts, he interjects. I saw him meeting my father, but this time he came to me and he gives me this mantra which is completely opposed. I've never heard of something, any yoga like this. And then I chant this mantra with full devotion because I was a fully blown Kshatriya, like from heart. And then I had audience of Vishnu. Can you imagine? Can you imagine like standing in Srirangam, like even when anybody been to Srirangam? When you go to Srirangam, have you seen through the roof you can get that Paravasudeva's vision? Like in front of the Guru. Beautiful, isn't it? It's like after you see that you can tell I've seen God. You can tell with authenticity, like I have seen God. Am I going to make you cry or something? I hope not. So, it's very emotional standing in front of that Paravasudeva. It's like you've seen God. You can come and say authentically, I've seen God. It's like he's seen God and then it's embarrassment and this astonishment. What did I achieve in 6 months? What did I gain? And how did I lose it? This is embarrassing. So this is the emotional turmoil in his heart. And then he's thinking a bit like Prahlad Maharaj in his heart. Yasmat priya priya viyoga janma, samyoga janma. Samyoga viyoga janma, shokagnina sakalayo dhyamana. Dukkaushadam tadapi dukkhamata dhyana. Trying to grab for things which we will lose. Either we won't get it, that's the story of this planet. Either you'll never get what you wanted, it will never fit your pro forma, or time will eventually just release the taste you had on it. Trust me. 46 years old now. I can tell for sure. Even if you got that dream thing, time will eventually make you lose the initial fantasy about it, the initial taste about it. It loses. The time just loses it. Even if you got it, I have interviewed personally people at 95 years old who lived with their dream partner for 55 years, 60 years. They lose. And then 95, he lived the rest of the 3 years. Just like. Every time I met, morning, afternoon, night, there's tears in his eyes. Where is she? Where is she? The cruel time has taken her away from me. So either you get something, you never get something, Or even if you get something, it's cruelly taken away from you. And saying, what have I done? So this is all the embarrassment, this is all the astonishment, this is all the mixture of emotions. Never playing a victim card. He never played the victim card, Dhruva or his mother. I'm a victim, he did this to me, she did that to me, he stopped my spiritual progress. Nobody stops your spiritual progress. Nobody stops your spiritual progress. The only person that stops your spiritual progress is you, is me. Nobody stops your spiritual progress. Doesn't happen. Okay? It doesn't happen like that. The only person that's stopping our spiritual progress is us. Okay? So Krishna is not stopping. What's that saying? The Rumi is saying, the popular one. Who's from the 80s here? Anybody from 80s? You from the 80s? Rumi is that finish with this. Rumi was a Persian poet, you know that, Rumi? He's a very popular. He says, the love you seek, listen to your life will never be the same after you listen to this. I know you must be thinking he talks about Moses, he talks about Rumi, he talks about this guy is out of control. Rumi says something very interesting. He says, the love you seek is seeking you. The love you seek is seeking you. The Radha Krishna that you seek are seeking you. So nobody can stop your devotional service because it's between you and Radha Krishna. There's no such thing as someone did that and I stopped my devotional service and I want to take a little break, or I can't take this anymore, or he did this, he needs to be blamed, or she did this, she needs to be blamed. No. But having said that, I'm not swinging to the other extreme. I'm not saying that nobody's perpetrating any problems in spiritual organizations. That's not what I mean. I'm not swinging to the other extreme. Yeah, of course there are, in all religions, Christianity, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, anywhere, there are leaders who are evil, perpetrators are evil. I'm not disagreeing to the point. But what I'm trying to say is, we don't need to take that as an excuse to demolish ourselves. We don't need to take that excuse to ambush ourselves. We don't need to take that excuse as to antagonize ourselves, to patronize ourselves. So Dhruva never took that as an excuse. Suruchi saying words, his brother there. If anything, he comes and saves his brother from the yakshas. Do you remember the story? Later on, his brother is taken away by the yakshas. You remember, Baba? And then he just annihilates the whole clan. And Brahma had to come and say, hey son, what are you doing? I'm trying to create and you're trying to finish them off. So that's the point. Like he never took that victim card. And then I'll just quickly recap. So on one hand, he never took that victim card, and then he was as embarrassed with what he had done. And I gave you the example of Moses, how when he had to cross, he was only like few hours, like just a mount away. But he imposed it's a self-imposed punishment, that I'm not entering that land because I'm so disappointed with myself that I asked for a material benefit to God. So Dhruva is embarrassed like that, and he's astonished at the same time. What karma jnana couldn't give, what jnana couldn't give, what my yoga couldn't give, just by chanting Hare Krishna. Boom, 6 months. You might think, come on, Radhika Prasad, that's a hyperbole. 6 months. What do you think about us? Well, the reason we are taking longer is just because we don't understand the potency of the name. We don't understand. Some of you may do, but I'm just saying, people who are struggling, the reason we don't get full benefit out of the Hare Krishna mantra is because we are that veil between the mantra and us. The day you understand Radha Rani as a supreme personality of Godhead and not a sidekick. And she, in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is repeated more than Krishna and Rama. Krishna is repeated 4 times and Rama is repeated 4 times. But Radharani is taken 8 times. I think so, something like that. She's encompassing us. She's imploring us. She's inviting us into that divine company with Radha and Krishna. So the day we understand that, we to tell you the truth, we don't even need 6 months. If you really get it, we're done. The moment you get it, you're done. You're living in a world, maybe so-called material, but what is material? Can you define material? Nobody can define material. It's just a word. I meant to say ontologically. Sorry, Bhava is looking at me thinking, of course we can define material. What I mean is ontologically. Nobody knows ontologically what matter is. Did you know that? All these books about, Stephen Hawking and Alan Gath and all these physicists, you cannot define ontologically what matter is. This world becomes spiritual. What is matter? It's just an energy. So when we get that, then this world, as you are sitting here, as you are sheltered here, transform. It becomes, you have a little bubble around you, and it becomes a spiritual world. You don't need to die to go to spiritual world. It's a myth. It's a myth that needs to be busted. Ihayasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikilasa avastasu jivan muktasa uchchate. If you don't believe me, I just quoted a verse. You don't have to die to go to spiritual world. It's a myth. You can be in spiritual world right now. You can be in spiritual world right now. You are in a spiritual world right now. There's nothing like waiting for the death and waking up like surprised. Oh, where did I wake up? Oh, someone has to say, oh, this is spiritual. Oh, really? So what am I supposed to do? It's not like that. You just cross. It's like transiting in the airport, one plane to the next. It's not like someone is carrying you in the stretcher when you're unconscious. You're walking through one plane to another. It's not like you've gone unconscious and someone is taking you on a stretcher. No. So you sail through from this to the next service. There's no need for such thing as waiting to die before going to spiritual world. You are in one. Sounds like Pirates of the Caribbean. You are in one. So, Captain Barbaros, you are in one. Anyway, so he says that, does he? Do you believe in mystical stories? No, I don't. Well, you better start believing because you are in one. So Captain Barbaros. So anyway, so I may stop here. I don't know. Did I completely lose you all like in ecstasy, or I did a little Balram because I like Balram and I'm still in that mood. So I did a little Balram, good cop, bad cop, uncle, God, and all that. So we can still take share of. You know how they call a birthday week in Australia? It's not a birthday. It's like a birthday week. So although Balram Jayanti may have physically finished yesterday, we could continue celebrating it until Janmashtami. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. It doesn't stop. Until Radhashtami, we can keep celebrating all the way. So let's keep celebrating this momentous occasion. Let's take advantage of Dhruva Maharaja's story. Let's not play victim cards. I'm not saying there are not difficulties. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not swinging to the other. There are difficulties. But we have to pick ourselves up. Find a friend. Phone a friend. Find a friend. Find someone who has seen through the journey, who has grilled through the journey. Associate, be in that company. See who has the taste for the name. The whole success of your spiritual practice, I'll end this by one line. Can be defined by the taste you got in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The whole summum bonum of your spiritual practice just boils down to one point. How much taste have you developed when chanting Hare Krishna? When you finish the 16 rounds, are you disappointed? Damn, 15 rounds or 16 finished for the day. Can I do more? And you're looking at squeezing time to do more. Because you're getting so much out of it. That is the Hare Krishna movement. And give it to everybody you see. Yare dekho tare ka ho Krishna upadesh. Hamara agna ho. Hamar agna guru hoy tara desh. So this is an amazing book. I always keep telling you guys. This is an amazing scientific, historical, you can call it metaphysical, you can call it consciousness study, you can call it quantum physics, you can call multi-universes book, you can call everything the academics are now chasing has its original archetype in this book. So who's on this journey to wherever you go, somehow slip this knowledge, slip this book to anybody you see. Just give Bhagavatam, please. So, who's on this journey with me? Show of hands. Thank you very much for coming. I know Wednesday is not a good day for heavy philosophy. I try to lighten it up, but I'm just a nutcase. So please, I hope you have some Panadols there and Nurophens or something. And if you didn't, we don't do refunds. So go and ask for refunds. Hare Krishnas, we don't do refunds. If you didn't like the class, don't ask for refunds. But if you have any questions, I've been told that I'll win some grand prizes for answering questions right. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to comments or questions, I'm happy to take. If you're hungry and you want to get to prasadam, just get over with and go to prasadam, that's fine too. But does anybody have a comment or a question? All good? All good? Sold. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha anandakoti vaishnavavrinda ki jai. I'll never take you for granted. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Was the voice okay? It was okay? Because last two classes I had feedback that the voice was a bit echoing or something. Anyway, I better stop this. Because I keep talking here.